Eala was once considered one of those promising talents from a country that barely registered on the global tennis map. But within 48 hours in Auckland, she completely erased that notion. No longer just a young phenomenon. No longer a fairy tale. Eala officially placed herself in the game among the world's top players. You might have never watched a single match of hers. But after this video, you won't be able to forget her name. This 20-year-old took down the legendary Venus Williams in doubles. She defeated Donna Vekić, a former Wimbledon semi-finalist. And she did it not just with skill, but with nerves of steel, sheer grit, and a speech that silenced the entire stadium. In just 2 days, Eala didn't just rewrite her own script. She redefined the very meaning of being an underdog. But there's one thing the media hasn't said enough. This isn't just a sporting victory. This is a declaration from a new generation, where athletes don't need to come from the US, Europe, or Australia to have a place in elite tennis. At the 14th minute of this video, you will hear words that made an entire community stand up with pride. And if you think this is the final climax, wait until you see who she has to face next, a match that isn't just a knockout round, but the biggest test of her career. We will show you why this match could change everything. But before we begin, if you love emotional sports stories like this, subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel so you don't miss the journey of rising stars like Eala. Because sometimes you're not just watching tennis, you're witnessing history being rewritten. The origin of an underdog who refuses to bow. Eala didn't grow up on traditional tennis courts like those in California or Barcelona. She was born in the Philippines, a nation that had never produced a female player to break into the WTA Top 100. A place where tennis is a luxury sport played by the elite, with almost no professional training system capable of producing a champion. If you're a young girl holding a racket in Manila, the Grand Slam dream sounds like a distant delusion. But Alex doesn't come from the elite. She comes from a middle-class sporting family, with a father who was a former swimmer and a mother who was a financial analyst. Neither had connections to the international professional sports system. The only thing they had was a fierce determination to ensure their daughter didn't become a victim of limitations. At age 12, Alex was forced to leave home to attend the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, a decision she described as both a dream and an exile. No friends, no family, no one spoke Filipino. Every morning began with muscle aches, and every night ended in a haunting silence during calls back home. For many, that would be the stopping point. For Alex, it was just the first step. Whether you love or hate tennis, you'll see something very American in this girl's story, a Southeast Asian version of the American dream, where the outsider doesn't ask for permission to enter, but kicks down the door as if it were destiny. She had no system behind her, no media protection, and certainly no privileges. But somehow, Eala turned scarcity into motivation, solitude into fire, and every swing of the racket into a signal flare. I am here, and I'm not going anywhere. Have you ever seen a player dare to wage war against limitations since the age of 12? If not, keep watching, because what happened next was truly just the beginning. The doubles match that shocked the tennis world. If someone told you that a pair of teenagers would defeat Venus Williams and Elena Svitolina in an official WTA tournament, would you believe them? Even the toughest experts didn't place any expectations on that match. Venus, a living legend, 7 singles Grand Slams, 14 doubles Grand Slams. Elena, current world number 13, making a strong comeback after maternity leave. Combined, they had over 70 years of professional experience. And Eala and her 18-year-old partner, Ivanovic, they had played fewer than 70 tournaments total. The young duo entered the match with a clear mindset. No one thought they had a chance. No media analyzed their tactics. No commentators called their names with expectation. But that made them dangerous, because when you have nothing to lose, you play as if you are unbeatable. They saved 8 consecutive set points in the first set tiebreak. And the one who saved all 8 points wasn't Alex, but Jovic. When asked after the match, Alex just laughed, says the one who saved all the set points. It wasn't just a win, it was a liberation. A confirmation. Youth can achieve the unthinkable. But what made this victory iconic wasn't just the score. It was the attitude, the confidence, the way Alex stood on the court as if she had played at this level her entire life. No fear, no hesitation, and no apologies for beating an idol. As they left the court, the world knew the name Alex Eala. But doubt remained. So what if it was a doubles match? Can she do the same in singles? That question would soon be answered, but not in the way people expected. The real challenge, facing a veteran. Donna Vekić is no ordinary player. She is a Wimbledon semi-finalist, an Olympic medalist, and was once ranked 17th in the world. Facing Vekić in a WTA 250 tournament is like a game of prove it. You say you're good? Prove it. Alex entered the match with the momentum of a miracle maker. But this is the WTA. Here, every miracle is tested by cold reality. The match started like a dream. Alex quickly led 3-0. Her shots were sharp, flexible, and she actively attacked right from the baseline. Hundreds of Filipino fans in the stands cheered as if this were Manila, not Auckland. Flags flew, and shouts of Alex, Alex, echoed through the stadium. But then Donna did what only top players know how to do. She changed the tempo. She hit the ball high with heavy topspin, forcing Alex into constant movement and exploiting her weakness in handling high balls. Alex lost her composure, made consecutive errors, and lost the first set 4-6. The crowd went silent. Commentators began talking about lack of experience. But that was exactly when Alex showed what makes her different. Not technique, but mental fortitude. Set 2 was a breathless tug of war. Donna maintained her form, but Alex began to read the match better, attacking at the right moments and returning accurately. She led 5-3, was close to 5-4, but kept her spirit and closed out the second set 6-4. The audience held its breath. Commentators no longer dared to make predictions. The match was no longer a question of can she compete, but rather can she actually win? The most valuable comeback of her career. Set 3 began in a suffocating atmosphere. Alex requested a medical timeout, a small detail that could change the match's tide. Experts immediately doubted. Does she have the stamina? Is this the limit? But when she returned to the court, the look in her eyes had changed. She was no longer a 20-year-old girl trying to do well. She was a true warrior, knowing exactly what she needed to do. The entire set was a high-pressure chase for points. Donna, with her experience, didn't give away any easy points. Alex, with her grit and persistence, answered with every precise forehand. By the 8th game, Alex got her first break point and converted it immediately, 5-3. But then she made 2 consecutive service errors. A regrettable double fault. 5-4, Donna closed the gap. The entire stadium stood up, feeling the palpable pressure. In that moment, Alex didn't tremble. She hit a down-the-line forehand that Donna couldn't touch. An unbelievable save at the back of the court. And then, the final point. As Donna hit the ball into the net, Alex collapsed, face in her hands. A 4-6, 6-4, 6-4 victory. A match lasting nearly 3 hours. But what the audience remembered wasn't the score. It was the words spoken afterward. Home is a people, not a place. The stadium erupted. No one expected a player in her early 20s to say something that made an entire community feel represented. And the craziest part? This was only the first round. Lifestyle behind the glory. What the camera doesn't see. With a victory like that, you'd think Alex Eala is living the dream life. And yes, in some ways, she truly represents the global athletic generation. Young, talented, beautiful, and media savvy. Sponsorship deals started coming in. Social media following skyrocketed. Newspapers called her the pride of Southeast Asia. But behind the camera flashes is a very different world. Solitary, ruthlessly disciplined, and far from easy. Alex doesn't live in the Philippines. She spends most of her time in Europe training, moving constantly between tournaments. In a year, she might visit 25 different cities, and nowhere is long enough to call home. Every morning at 6 a.m., she is on the practice court. Every meal is carefully measured. Every night ends with muscle recovery, therapy, and tactical analysis for the next day. She has no time to be a celebrity. No galas, no red carpets, no scandals. Alex's Instagram presence consists mainly of training videos, match highlights, and occasionally a simple moment. Sitting alone at an airport, eating instant noodles after a match. Those things don't trend on TikTok. But they are the reason she is advancing further than many of her peers. When asked what the hardest part of pursuing professional tennis is, Alex doesn't talk about opponents. She talks about the feeling of being left behind. Missing her younger brother's birthday, not making it back when her grandmother passed, not being able to celebrate Lunar New Year with family. I chose this path, but the price is not cheap, she once shared. That's why every victory, like the match against Donna, is not just a score. It's evidence of what she sacrificed. It's her way of telling herself, I was right not to give up. If you think this life sounds like a movie, wait for the next chapter. Because Alex's next opponent doesn't come from the past, but from the future. The real battle. A peer or a replacement. Petra Marčinko, 20 years old, from Croatia. A young player who just entered the World Top 100 and is making experts bow in respect. She isn't an experienced Venus. She isn't a seasoned Donna. Petra is a reflection of Alex, young, ambitious, and waiting for her breakout moment. The difference is, Petra has already started exploding. She just won a WTA 100 title in Dubai. She's holding the longest winning streak of her career. Strong serve, great stamina, and particularly a stone-cold competitive mindset. The media calls her Europe's next big thing. Fashion brands have put her on magazine covers. And the rankings are starting to highlight her name in gold. This is no longer a match to prove she can play at this level. This is a battle between two people fighting for the same spot on the WTA map. And only one can move forward. Petra knows it. And Alex is all too used to being underestimated. But there is one thing Petra has never faced, the crowd. While Marčinko comes from a tennis-loving nation, she has never played before a packed stadium like the one in Auckland that day, where hundreds of Filipinos stood up, chanting Alex's name from the very first point. To them, this match isn't just sports, it's pride. It's recognition. Alex stepped onto the court not just to compete, but to represent. Not just for herself, but for a nation that has never had a name in the women's tennis top 50. And that pressure, which might seem like a disadvantage, becomes an irreplaceable engine. The problem is, Petra doesn't care who you represent. She only wants to win. And that's when things become more personal than ever. The confrontation becomes a test of self. The match began with high intensity. Both players held their service games, neither giving an inch. But if you looked closely, you'd see something strange. Alex wasn't smiling as usual. She wasn't looking toward the stands for supportive eyes. She was silent, eyes fixed on her opponent, as if knowing today wasn't about inspiring, it was about surviving. Petra played like a machine. Precise, cold, emotionless. Every shot seemed pre-programmed. Deep baseline, corner pressure. Finishing with a neat volley. But Alex didn't crumble. She returned the ball relentlessly, changed directions constantly, and extended rallies with everything she had. By the sixth game, Petra had a break point. The stadium went quiet. And then, Alex saved it with an unbelievable passing shot right on the line. She didn't celebrate. She just clenched her fist and turned to walk back to the baseline. The battle had entered a new phase. Character versus character. Set 1 lasted nearly an hour. Alex lost the set in a tiebreak. But strangely, no one panicked. Because for Alex, being behind isn't new. The story wasn't that she lost the first set, but that she never gave up afterward. Set 2 opened with a small detail no one expected. Alex changed her racket. A simple act, but for many players, it's a way to reset the psychology. And, indeed, she started playing like a different person. More proactive. Riskier. Slice serves that forced Petra to move more. And when the opportunity came, Alex finished with an inside-out forehand that left her opponent frozen. 6-3. Set 2 belonged to Alex. The match was no longer about who was better, but who wanted it more. Who could endure more? Who was hungrier? In that moment, all eyes turned to the final minutes, where a truth would be revealed, making the audience ask, did I ever really understand this girl? The tense moment that defines a star. Set 3, where there's no room for theory, no analysis, no data, only emotion and character. Alex opened with a love service game, 3 consecutive aces that brought the crowd to their feet. But Petra didn't flinch. She answered with her own love game. Every point was a small war. Every rally was a dance of stamina and tactics. By the 5th game, both players had been playing for over 2.5 hours. Sweat soaked their hair, and every step became heavier. But Alex still roared after every winning point. Looking at her now, you didn't see a young girl from a non-tennis tradition country. You saw a champion, self-made and grown. Petra began to waver. She made her first double fault of the deciding set. Alex capitalized immediately, breaking to lead 4-2. But once again, pressure returned, and Alex double faulted at a critical moment. 4-3. The entire crowd seemed frozen. It was the moment a young player could collapse. But not Alex. She looked toward the stands and saw a child holding a Filipino flag, crying from the tension. And then she broke into a smile. Not to reassure herself, but to tell everyone, I'm still here. I'm not done. She broke back, led 5-3, and finished the match with a picture-perfect down-the-line forehand. As Petra slumped in disappointment, Alex didn't jump or scream. She just stood there, hands clenched, eyes closed, as if telling herself, I beat myself. The moment media cannot define. Immediately after the match, sports media swarmed Alex. Photos, headlines, interviews, all focused on the sensation from the Philippines. But in the press conference, Alex did the unexpected. She refused to talk about her opponent or tactics. Instead, she spoke about her grandmother. My grandmother passed away 2 years ago, but she was the first person to show me a tennis match on TV, she said, eyes red. She always said that if I couldn't find a place to belong, just look at the crowd cheering for me and keep living. A reporter asked, do you think the media underestimated you? Alex just laughed. I don't need the media to define me. I have the audience. I have the community. And that statement, like a final ace, silenced the room. Not because of flowery words, but because people realized Alex Eala is not a phenomenon. She is proof of a new generation, where you don't need PR to become an icon. You just need to be real. If you ever thought inspiring stories only came from Hollywood, think again. And if you want to accompany this untold journey, subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel. We don't just bring you tennis. We bring you the people behind the serve. Americans have Serena. Filipinos have Alex. Alex once joked, I'm not Serena. I don't need to be Serena. But after that match, an American sports newspaper wrote, Americans have Serena. Filipinos have Alex. The phrase went viral so fast it even surprised Alex. She didn't claim it, nor did she deny it. She only said, if that inspires someone, then I know I'm doing the right thing. Maybe you never cared about tennis. Maybe you never heard Alex Eala's name before this video. But if you've ever felt underestimated, ever thought you came from the wrong place, ever wondered if trying is worth it, then Alex's journey is the answer. What do you think of this truth? Did you think Alex Eala was just a flash-in-the-pan star, or did you see something else after this video? Comment below. And if you want to see Alex's next journey, as well as other sports stars rewriting history, don't forget to subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel. Because this isn't just tennis. This is how ordinary people create the extraordinary. Would you like me to look into the specific training methods Alex used at the Nadal Academy, or perhaps provide a schedule of her upcoming tournaments?